Hello, this is Francisco Olvera. I'm signing in for my final project. I'm currently here at Government Canyon State National Area. It's a very beautiful park here. And to start off this project, I wanted to show off a great example of some biological weathering. If we look right here, we can see how this whole big rock is being taken over by this multiple trees, multiple roots. Um, Clearly, they're being sectioned off into smaller parts. We can look right here where this has been split. We can see there's the root coming out from there. There's some more plants and roots right there. That big, that big part over there. Let me move out the way real quick. Um, this bit out of the trail, but here's what I wanted to show. This big massive trunk coming out of another massive rock. We can already see some joints starting to form where right here it appears that rock's probably gonna break off because there's probably some roots in there. Yeah, this was just you can see some more examples of biological weathering. You can see another root in between those rocks, probably split that apart. Yeah, this is a great example of some biological weathering. Thank you. Time for the next. Hello again. I'm here to show off my second example, which is an example of denudation. Well, specifically mass wasting. So if we look here, we can see where all the mass wasting is coming from. So all this is coming from the rocks at the top of this hill, I would say, because it's not big enough to be a mountain. But the rocks at the top, they're gonna go through weathering, and once those smaller pieces break off because of the weathering caused by things like water and plants, they're gonna fall down because, again, water pushing them, gravity might push them, air to an extent, and they're gonna end up falling here where they go through the second stage, mass wasting. And then eventually these smaller rocks are gonna go through more weathering, and they're gonna continue falling down the hill. If you look, you can see where the rocks are still going down. Eventually they're gonna hit the bottom, and they're gonna become small enough where the final stage of deposition happens, which is erosion. That's the one most people think of when they think of denudation. And those small rocks going through erosion are gonna eventually find another home far from here. Yeah. Next example. Hello. For my next example here, I wanted to show off some chemical weathering. If we look right here, we look at this big rock, we can tell that this rock is limestone. The reason we know this is limestone is because look at all these holes. The only way these holes would have been able to form is if it went under chemical weathering caused by acid rain. Well, it's not really acid rain, it's just rain that is slightly acidic due to the fact that there is carbon dioxide in the water, thus making the water acidic. And this acidic water affects this rock because this is a very soft rock, and it's gonna melt away bits of pieces of it off, and that's why we get these holes. We, on top of chemical weathering, we get to see some biological weathering here. We see some plants starting to form there. Those plants roots gonna get bigger, make those holes bigger, break off some pieces of rock. Right here, look at this joint. Water and other things are gonna get in this joint, breaking off this piece, and that's not chemical weathering, that's just some mechanical weathering. But we can see that all types of weathering can affect just one rock. And it is very common to find rocks like that here. They're literally everywhere in San Antonio. I mean, we can take a few steps that we can see this rock starting to get holes. Some more rocks over here. This one has a couple big ones too. Another one, a couple big holes caused by the acid rain. Yeah, so that's a great example of some chemical weathering here in the rocks. Yeah, next one. Welcome back. For my next area that I wanted to show off here at Government Canyon State National Park was this little ephemeral river. If you look over there, we look over there, and ephemeral rivers are streams. Sorry, ephemeral streams are only streams that occur when shortly after rain or during rain. So clearly, this river is empty except for a couple little ponds of water. Obviously, some mud still. And another thing I wanted to show off here were the nick points of this river. If we look right here along this edge, water is going to be falling, causing this edge right here to go under more and more erosion. If we look right here, we already see some major cracks forming. We can even look over here where it's already starting to break off. We can see how this part looks way fresher than this outer part because this inner part is barely breaking off, so it hasn't gone through the erosion like the outside of the rock. Yeah, and that's it for nick points and this ephemeral stream. Time for the next one. Hello. To finish off my project, I wanted to show off this beautiful cliff that I have found, rock wall that I have found. If we look over here, starting, we get to see where a bunch of big rocks fell from the top. This is clearly mass wasting, and we got some cool dinosaur tracks, not relevant, so I'm gonna move on quickly. And we get to see a lot of biological weathering on this cliffside. Actually, if you see right there, that tree's coming out the rock. There's some more trees in this area coming off the rock. One that I really wanted to show is one where I think it is very recent. I believe this rock fell very recently, and this rock went through some biological weathering and it fell off clearly, because we see it looks pretty fresh. If we look at those rocks, they look pretty fresh compared to the outside. But if we look up there, we see a plant coming out. We see some, it looks pretty fresh. It looks pretty fresh right there. So I believe that plant caused that rock to be right there. So that is a great example of biological weathering once again. And clearly we get to see the horizontal joints of the rocks, where things get in there, start more cracks. And yeah, that's all I wanted to share. This was a beautiful cliff. Clearly the bottom is going through more weathering, and more things are breaking off because it's way smaller than the taller stuff, because on the top is the harder rocks and down here are the softer rocks. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you. It was great being in this class. Thank y'all. Thank you for making me do this project. It was beautiful coming here. And signing off. Bye.